afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming out. I would like to speak about Miss Barbara Ray Venture, who is a retired 70-year-old patent attorney. She majored in biology. She became a huge help with law enforcement in cold cases. Very reputable within the law enforcement agencies. Miss Ray Venture decided to help a family relative locate and identify their biological father. In doing so, she signed up for online classes that taught research skills and about the genetic genealogy. Miss Ray Venture proceeded to help this family relative locate their biological father. In doing so, they didn't identify the relative's biological father. Miss Ray Venture was also, after a few years of studying genetic genealogy as well as becoming an instructor for other classes in genetic genealogy, began to be very informational within the genetic community and began to help law enforcement. She was reached out, law enforcement reached out to Miss Venture asking about some cold cases of where she lived. She'd done some research online through public records and began helping law enforcement. In 2017, Ms. Ray Venture was asked to help on a cold case of a young lady who had been abducted as an infant and was raised by this gentleman until she was approximately 31 years of age. Once being found and able to leave her gentleman who captured, she found out her name was not Lisa. With the help of Miss Ray Venture, she was gaining access to public records but didn't quite know where to start, so Barbara helped her identify her biological name, the hospital she was born at. In doing so, Miss Ray Venture used hundreds of volunteers, took over 20,000 hours within this Lisa case, and continued to build to become a reputable resource for law enforcement. It wasn't until the Corner-Costa County District Attorney reached out to Miss Ray Venture a little over a year ago and asked her to help on a cold case where a gentleman had killed and raped multiple women and men in the killings. Miss Ray Venture was a little nervous at the same time because she was told it was a big case before she actually helped. The district attorney flew in, spoke to Miss Ray Venture about the case. Come to find out it was a Golden State case out of California where this gentleman, for like 10 years, he was ex-law enforcement, had killed over 13 women, raped, and had done this in a period of 10 years for what they've known. They don't believe everybody had been identified. There were still people he may have possibly killed and raped that are still unidentified to this day. Miss Ray Venture helped the district attorney, Mr. Holes, who is now retired, pinpoint a suspect. Come to find out, he is retired law enforcement, had been law enforcement for many, many years, and at the time that the district attorney approached Barbara, they really had nothing but a small piece of DNA. But Miss Ray Venture has said herself that just a small piece of DNA is simply an initial baby clue. Ray Venture took her knowledge and her skills and her team of volunteers and experts, and they started looking at public records, hospital records, all kinds of things. She looked at ancestry, DNA adoption databases, and they just puzzled it together. She used her self-knowledge, her self-taught skills, simply from enrolling in the class and trying to help a family friend identify their biological father and helping law enforcement solve many cold cases. Until this day, she is still helping. She's also instructing classes where they can use self-help websites, public records, and everything else to solve cold cases. Barbara Ray Venture in 2019 was nominated and elected as one of Time's 100 most influenceable people. And I chose her because it's very intriguing. She had already retired from 70. She was 70 years old. She had already retired from having a law career. She was a mother, had been divorced, and just one simple hobby that she found intriguing helped solve cases where people have no answers of why loved ones went missing or anything of that nature. And that's why I chose Ms. Barbara Raventure.